Hi, Marion Emberson here for Wow Embossing Powders. In this video I'm going to show you the basics of stamping and embossing. So if you've never done it before, or if it's been a long time since you've done it and you want to get back into it, this is your basic stamping and embossing. But I'm going to show you two ways. So the first way is we're going to use a clear ink. I personally just love Versamark ink. It's got a glycerine in there. It means it stays wetter longer to enable you to get the powders on. To me, it's a great ink. I love it. So we're going to use a clear ink, but we're going to use a coloured powder. So the first thing I'm going to do is ink up my stamp. So I'm going to ink it all over. And this is the Wow Divine stamp. And it is divine. It's beautiful. And then I'm going to take my tag. Now you'll notice I'm not going to put my fingers over my tag. I'm going to handle it from the sides. Now that's because I don't want to get any moisture from my fingers on that tag. A lot of people confuse moisture with static because the powder will stick to it. The powder's going to stick to the moisture. All the Wow powders are anti-static and they're treated to be anti-static. And you mustn't get it confused thinking, oh, there's little bits stuck to it. It can't be anti-static. It is. It just means that you've got moisture on your card. So I'm just pouring that all over. It doesn't matter how much I put on because it's what's not used is going to go back in the pot. I'm just going to take that and throw that back in there. Always give that a little flick off. Put my lid on, and now when I heat it, I'm going to hold the gun about this far from it. I usually tip my head to the side and then I can see it changing. As soon as I see it changing, I'm going to move the gun around all the design so the whole thing melts. One thing you don't want to do is overheat. It's easy to keep going and going and going and doing a little bit more. It's always best to underheat. You can go back and heat a little bit more if you've missed a bit. But if you overheat, it just starts sinking into the cardstock and then it gets ruined. So that's what that looks like. You can see, just beautiful. It just gives such a professional finish. So I'm going to pop that there. And now the next one, as I say, I'm just going to give this a little wipe with a cloth. Just a wet cloth to get rid of that. And then I'm just going to stamp that off on a bit of scrap because of the wet on there. Okay. But this time I'm going to use a pigment ink. So again, pigment ink will stay wetter longer. If you used or tried to use a dye-based ink, dye-based inks are there because they're going to dry fast for you. And there's reasons we want ink to dry fast. But when we're embossing, we want it to stay wet long enough for us to get our powder on. So I'm just going to ink this up all over. Again, you'll notice I haven't handled my card. So I'm not getting all that moisture on there. So I'm going to ink that. I do have a tendency to over ink. And I have to tell myself to stop. And then take my tag. And I'm just going to pop it on. And the reason, don't worry about the back of it, I get it all over my fingers this way. The reason I do it this way, rather than putting the stamp on top of the tag, if I do that, I'm going to get it all over the paper here. And then when I pour the powder on, that's going to transfer all onto the paper as well. This way, I'm just getting it on the tag and my fingers, but I can deal with that. So I'm just going to pull that off, and I've got two clear powders. The first one is a clear sparkle, and I'm going to pop that on this side, and I'm going to shake that off here. And then the second one, I'm just going to use a clear gloss. I'm just going to pop the lid back on there. So on the first tag we used a clear ink and a coloured powder. This time we're using a coloured ink and a clear powder. And I'm just showing it. I'm hoping the camera's going to be able to pick it up. I'm just going to throw that back in there, shake off that excess, and again I'm just going to heat it, same way as I did before. Okay, oh, dropped me gun. Right, okay, so on this side we've got a sparkle and this side is a glossy finish. So if we look at the two, we're getting the same effects apart from the sparkle, but we've just done it two different ways round. So there you go, that's your standard stamping and embossing. In the next video I'm going to show you how to do multicolour embossing, so I hope you can join me on that one. Thanks for watching, bye!